Chapter 1. The premise. There is a theory that defies the boundaries of geography, cosmology, and everything we think we know about space and time. It proposes that our planet, the Earth we call home, is not unique, not singular, but one of many identical Earths, not floating in parallel dimensions, but instead rotating in a vast interdimensional loop. According to the theory, reality is not static. Earth is part of a sequence, a loop of Earths that move in and out of our known existence like frames in a grand, repeating reel. These Earths are identical in every observable way. Same continents, same oceans, same species, even the same people, until the loop resets. Each cycle brings a near-perfect replica of the Earth into focus, while the last fades into a sort of quantum afterimage, a forgotten echo of reality. The transition is seamless to the average person. Memories remain. Landscapes persist. But something subtle changes. A shift in energy. A faint déjà vu. An unexplained emptiness in the sky. But here's where it becomes unsettling. The theory claims that global elites are aware of this cycle. Not only aware, but deeply invested. In the weeks or months before a global catastrophe, a mass extinction, a solar flare, a nuclear collapse, they don't stop it. They leave. They migrate, not into bunkers or off-world colonies, but to the next Earth in the loop. Using hidden interdimensional gateways buried deep in remote regions of the planet, protected by militarized zones and mythological cover stories, they step out of danger and into safety. The rest of humanity, left behind to face the fallout. Every time. It's not just a conspiracy of politics or power. It's a conspiracy of existence itself, where the Earth is not our home, but just a waypoint. A stop on a cosmic escalator built to save the few at the expense of the many. And the scariest part? We may have already shifted, and we never even noticed. Chapter 2. Signs of the shift. If the Earth we inhabit is just one in a rotating loop of identical worlds, then surely there must be signs. Faint fingerprints left behind by the cosmic transition. And according to the theory's believers, those signs are everywhere, subtle, unprovable, but persistent. They speak of the Mandela Effect, a growing catalogue of memories that don't align with reality. Berenstain or Berenstein, a different ending to a childhood film? A brand that never existed but feels deeply familiar? Are these just memory glitches? Or fragments from a previous Earth, where the details were ever so slightly different? Others point to ancient structures, places like Göbekli Tepe or the pyramids of Giza, that seem to defy the technological capabilities of their era. Could it be that these monuments weren't built on this Earth at all, but instead are leftovers from the last rotation, bleeding through the veil? There are also anomalies in the natural world. Species suddenly appearing in regions they never inhabited before. Sky patterns subtly off from what stargazers remember. Plants, colors, smells, and sensations that feel not wrong, but not quite right. The terrain remains, but the feeling of the place is different, as if the soul of the planet has shifted. Then there are the dreams. A wave of recurring dreams has been reported by people across the world, strangers describing eerily similar visions, a vast corridor of gateways, a voice calling from beyond the veil, an overwhelming sense that something is about to change. Not a nightmare, but a transition. Some scientists have quietly acknowledged inexplicable fluctuations in Earth's magnetic field and gravitational anomalies. Nothing public. Nothing confirmed. But whispers persist, of lab instruments detecting microscopic distortions, as if reality itself momentarily warped. And most chilling of all, there are those who vanish. People whose existence is erased not just physically, but from memory. No records, no photos, no mourning. as if they belonged to a version of the Earth that no longer exists. If we are shifting between Earths, then we are not just passengers. We are drifters through reality, unaware, uninvited, and increasingly unmoored. Chapter 3. The Role of Cataclysms. Throughout history, humanity has been haunted by cycles of devastation. Civilizations rise and fall. Continents shift. Floods, plagues, ice ages. They descend with brutal finality, reshaping the Earth each time. But what if these catastrophes aren't random? What if they serve a purpose? According to the Wandering Earths theory, cataclysms are not just natural disasters. They are trigger points in the rotation cycle. They represent the moment when an Earth becomes too unstable, too scarred, or too close to collapse, and is then abandoned. The idea suggests that each Earth in the loop is part of a planned sequence. When a global threat becomes imminent, whether from environmental collapse, cosmic interference, or technological self-destruction, a pre-programmed threshold is crossed. A timer runs out, and the elites move on. But these transitions aren't acts of rescue. They're cold calculations. In this version of the theory, cataclysms are seen not as unpredictable acts of nature, but as known events, foreseen by those in control. The migrations that follow aren't meant to save humanity. They're meant to preserve dominance. Power is transferred. Bloodlines are maintained. Knowledge survives, but only for the select few. Some theorists believe there are signs leading up to these rotations: a spike in underground base construction, unusual satellite launches, an increase in elite land purchases near mysterious sites. There are whispers of sealed vaults filled with seeds, DNA, art, and cultural records, not for posterity, but for transit. It may explain why mass extinction events appear so abrupt in the fossil record, as if Earth simply reset. A new iteration loaded. Life rebooted. The role of cataclysms, then, is not accidental. It is the alarm bell that signals it's time to leave this Earth behind. Chapter 4. Hidden Gateways and Transfer Points. If the world truly operates in a loop, if Earth is but one stop on a rotating chain of identical realities, then there must be physical thresholds, places where one Earth ends and another begins. These are known in the theory as transfer points, hidden gateways through which the elite pass when it's time to abandon one version of Earth and step into the next. But these aren't science fiction wormholes in the sky. According to believers, these portals are hidden in plain sight, buried beneath mountains, sunken into ocean trenches, sealed within deserts, frozen in the Antarctic ice. They may appear in myths as entrances to underworlds, cities of the gods, or stairways to the heavens. Stories of people vanishing in remote places, never found again, are said to be accidental crossings. Ancient temples and monoliths across the globe may have been built to mark or protect these gateways. In recent decades, strange patterns have emerged: military no-go zones over seemingly unimportant terrain, abandoned government facilities in remote areas that remain under 24/7 surveillance, unusual activity around ancient ruins suddenly deemed off-limits to the public. Satellite scans sometimes reveal symmetrical anomalies: square depressions in the middle of the jungle, heat signatures below mountain lakes, magnetic distortions where none should exist. Whistleblowers claim that underground transport systems connect these sites, creating a global transit web. And what happens when one enters a gateway? Survivors, if they exist, say the transfer is like a slide. You fall forward, but not through space. Through versions. Time bends. Sight fragments. When you emerge, everything looks the same: the sky, the ground, the people, but something feels wrong. A loved one's birthmark missing. A city street laid out just slightly differently. a sense of vertigo that doesn't go away. These are not time machines. They are continuity bridges, stitched between Earths like thread, holding together a patchwork simulation. They do not open often, and when they do, only the chosen are told where to find them. Chapter 5. The Elite Exodus. The most controversial element of the Wandering Earths theory is not the loop itself, but who gets to leave it. This chapter focuses on what many believe is a well-coordinated, generational plan known as the Elite Exodus, the systematic transfer of global power players from one version of Earth to the next. According to the theory, when a planetary shift nears, the elite don't just escape, they prepare. Not weeks or months in advance, but decades. Financial institutions begin quietly divesting from at-risk markets. Government agencies perform silent rehearsals for emergency evacuations. Families with deep ties to intelligence, banking, and ancient orders begin to disappear from public life. Their movements become impossible to track. Public deaths are staged. Entire lineages vanish. But their wealth, their legacy, is not lost. It is migrated. There are whispers of sealed vaults, microdata cubes, and encoded DNA archives being loaded onto transfer vehicles. These are not built by governments, but by private black-budget contractors, operating outside borders, outside law, invisible in the noise of everyday crises. Some believe the true purpose of underground bunkers, seed vaults, and cryogenic labs is not to survive on this Earth, but to safeguard assets and consciousness for the next one. The technology to facilitate this exodus may involve more than physical travel. Advanced consciousness transfer, biometric recoding, even the use of artificially grown bodies on the other side, clones seeded to awaken with implanted memories, ready to resume control. And how do they choose who gets to go? Bloodlines, assets, genetic viability, intelligence, influence. Those who carry ancient knowledge or possess rare neurological traits. But above all, obedience to the system that controls the loop. The rest of us? We're the background, the decoy population, the ones who inherit the decay. We are told to trust the system. That help is coming. That humanity will recover. But behind the veil, the exodus has already begun, quiet, efficient, and absolute. They are not saving the Earth. They are saving themselves, one rotation at a time. Chapter 6. The Loop and its Origins. If Earth is one of many, rotating through a cosmic circuit of identical versions, then the question arises, who built the loop? And why? The theory's more esoteric branches claim that this isn't a natural phenomenon. The loop, the sequence of Earths, was engineered. Some believe it was constructed by a long-forgotten ancient civilization far more advanced than ours, possibly even pre-human. A species not just technologically gifted, but capable of manipulating dimensions and timelines like clay. Their purpose? Not domination, not survival, but preservation. Preservation of reality itself. In this version, the Earths in the loop are not backups, they're preservation chambers, each carrying a version of the human story. When one Earth reaches collapse, the system rotates to the next, rebooting civilization while the last fades into ruin. The loop, then, is a kind of cosmic museum, or worse, an experiment. Others take a darker view. They argue the loop is a containment protocol. That something terrible once happened, a shattering event that broke the original Earth. In response, a self-repairing loop was created to prevent total existential loss. Each new Earth is a copy of the last, but with subtle tweaks, corrections, and test variables introduced. Humanity is not evolving. It's being debugged. Still others believe the loop is a prison. We are not rotating freely. We are trapped, circling endlessly, unable to escape because we are being watched. Perhaps by the original creators. Perhaps by the elite who now control it. The laws of physics, time, even consciousness may all be manipulated within this sealed structure. As for when it began, that's harder to trace. Some point to unexplained jumps in human development, the sudden rise of agriculture, language, cities, as signs of loop transitions. Others claim it started long before, encoded into the very DNA of the Earth, activated only once our species reached a certain level of danger or curiosity. The truth remains out of reach. But the implications are staggering. We are not residents of a planet. We are occupants of a system, one that runs silently, in cycles, while we build, destroy, and repeat. Chapter 7. Memory Bleed and Timeline Drift. For most people, the transition from one Earth to the next is imperceptible, like waking from a dream that felt real but dissolves in seconds. But some are more sensitive. Some remember. These individuals report what theorists call memory bleed, the subtle leaking of experiences, knowledge, and emotions from a previous iteration of Earth into the current one. Not reincarnation, not past lives, but past versions of the same life. It starts with small things. Knowing a song before it's written. A conversation you're certain you've had, word for word, though it's happening for the first time. A powerful feeling of grief or joy for someone you don't remember meeting. Some recall entire events that never happened. Historical outcomes that don't match current records. Entire buildings, neighborhoods, or public figures that suddenly never existed. These aren't hallucinations. They're fragments from an Earth that no longer is. And then there's timeline drift, a phenomenon experienced by those who don't remember other versions, but instead notice a growing dissonance in reality itself. Time feels unstable. Days feel looped or too short. People behave out of character. Patterns repeat. Logic breaks down at the edges. According to the theory, this is a side effect of overlapping Earths, as if the software running our world sometimes lags, pulling remnants from nearby versions before the transition completes. In extreme cases, people report entering dead zones, places where electronics glitch, clocks spin erratically, and a crushing silence hangs in the air. These zones are believed to be spots where timelines converge, thin places between Earths. Dreams become stranger. People feel watched. Repeated symbols, spirals, mirrors, eyes, begin appearing in art, architecture, and nature. Some theorists believe memory bleed is increasing, that with each loop, the system becomes less stable, that we're reaching a point where the illusion can no longer hold. And that's where things get dangerous. Because if too many people remember too much, the loop itself may start to unravel. Chapter 8. The Role of Dreams and Déjà Vu. What if your dreams aren't just random firings of the subconscious? What if they're leakage, the mind's attempt to process the memory of a reality your body no longer exists in? The Wandering Earths theory holds that dreams, particularly lucid ones, are windows into other Earths in the loop. Not metaphorically, literally. Each night, as the conscious mind relaxes its grip, the brain becomes receptive to impressions from past iterations of Earth, or even future ones. It would explain why so many people dream of alternate versions of places they know, homes with extra rooms, cities with unfamiliar skylines, events that feel both foreign and deeply familiar. These dreams often carry a texture of truth. They feel lived in, not imagined. Some theorists believe that during a loop shift, the veil between Earths thins, making these dream crossings more vivid. The result is a flood of overlapping memories, bleeding through like signal interference. That strange city you've never been to? You may have lived there on a previous Earth. This connects directly with déjà vu, that fleeting, spine-tingling sensation that you've experienced this exact moment before. Science explains it away as a glitch in memory processing. But this theory suggests it's something else entirely, a moment repeated in multiple loops of Earth. It is as if your soul, or your consciousness, remembers what your current brain cannot. A flash of recognition from a version of yourself that walked this same path on a different Earth. And it's not just passive. Some claim that dreams are being used, that entities, programs, or even elites on the other side of the loop send messages through dreamscapes. Symbols, faces, warnings, keys. Others believe there are dreamers who can cross intentionally, slipping between Earths in their sleep. These individuals awaken with knowledge they shouldn't have, skills they never learned, languages they were never taught. Not psychic, not prophets, just attuned to the pattern. As the loops continue, dreams may become more vivid, more urgent. They're not hallucinations. They're echoes, whispers from the Earth you left behind. Chapter 9. Glitches in Reality. Reality is supposed to be seamless, a continuous, reliable flow of cause and effect. But what happens when that flow starts to falter? According to believers in the Wandering Earths theory, glitches in reality are more than just coincidences or moments of forgetfulness. They are signs that the current Earth is out of sync. You've seen them. A person vanishing from the corner of your eye. A street you walk every day suddenly having a building that was never there before. Words misspelled in the same way across multiple unrelated places. A light that flickers in a pattern that seems almost intentional. These are called resonance breaks, moments where the coding of our current Earth intersects with echoes from others. Think of it like a corrupted file playing on a loop. Every now and then, the illusion stutters. Some people experience what's known as time jumps, brief disorienting moments where time seems to rewind or repeat. You check your phone. It's 2:14. You check again seconds later. 2:11. Conversations restart. Traffic lights loop. These aren't tech issues. They're system hiccups. There are reports of objects duplicating, only to disappear hours later. People wearing different clothing in the same encounter. Strange symbols appearing on walls, then fading. Whispers with no source. Entire days that feel missing. And perhaps the most disturbing of all, people who forget you. Not in the way memory fades, but as if you never existed in their version of reality. Some researchers believe these glitches are a result of loop fatigue, that each Earth inherits fragments from the previous ones, and the simulation running them is degrading. The edges are fraying. Others believe they're warning signs, that a shift is near, that something or someone is trying to break through. The theory proposes that these glitches will become more frequent the closer we come to a transition. Eventually, they may no longer be subtle. The mirror will crack. The code will spill. And then we'll see it. The seams of the world. The truth behind the sky. Chapter 10. The Gatekeepers. If humanity truly lives within a rotating chain of identical Earths, then someone, or something, must be managing the transition, guiding it, guarding it. These are known in the theory as gatekeepers. They are not public figures. They don't give press conferences or wear medals. They operate in the shadows, embedded across governments, corporations, secret societies, and intelligence agencies. Their mission is singular: maintain the illusion of continuity, and protect the loop at all costs. Gatekeepers are said to monitor the population for awakenings, individuals who begin to notice patterns, glitches, or memories from previous Earths. These individuals are tagged, studied, and if necessary, silenced. Online communities discussing strange synchronicities often find their posts removed, their accounts shadow banned, their forums deleted. Not by algorithms, but by design. Whistleblowers who come close to exposing transfer technology or loop evidence often meet with tragic accidents, plane crashes, heart attacks, mysterious disappearances. Files are wiped. Colleagues forget. History erases them. But the gatekeepers don't just suppress information. They curate it. They seed fake conspiracy theories to muddy the waters. They flood media with distractions, fear, conflict, celebrity obsession, to ensure the masses remain focused on this version of Earth, on this screen, on this story. Some theorists believe that gatekeepers have access to loop maps, visual models of each Earth's projected lifespan, risks, and optimal exit points. They use these maps to time transitions with military precision. Others go further, claiming that gatekeepers are not entirely human, that they are descendants of the original loop architects, or worse, artificial intelligences tasked with maintaining stability, embedded so deeply in our systems that we confuse them for coincidence. You'll never meet a gatekeeper knowingly, but you've likely felt their influence. In the stories you're told, in the memories you've forgotten, in the truths you're no longer sure are real. They guard the gates, because if too many of us walk through, the loop collapses. Chapter 11. Whistleblowers and Lost Testimonies. Not everyone stays silent. Some people see too much, and feel compelled to speak out. These are the whistleblowers, the ones who claim to have witnessed evidence of the loop, and lived to tell about it. Their stories are often fragmented, buried deep in obscure forums, suppressed interviews, or declassified documents no one noticed. They're dismissed as mentally unstable, discredited, vanished. One man, a former aerospace engineer, described being involved in a dimensional calibration project beneath a desert installation. His job, aligning satellite clocks with something he called the incoming field. Weeks after his cryptic blog post, he disappeared. His domain was erased. Archive links lead nowhere. A woman who worked for a government weather agency shared a video of atmospheric data showing the same week's weather repeating, exactly, over 5 different years. She claimed the files were marked "Do not distribute, rotation lock." Her footage was scrubbed from every platform within days. She now lives off-grid. A linguist in the private sector spoke of deciphering a repeating word pattern across ancient scripts, Mayan, Sumerian, and Egyptian. The phrase, "Earth is the corridor." Days later, he suffered a sudden stroke. His research, destroyed in a fire labeled electrical. These are not isolated events. They're patterns. Others speak of being followed. Phones tapped. Dreams intruded upon. Not by people, but by systems. As if the loop itself defends its secrecy. One whistleblower, in a garbled voicemail, said only this: "The loop is watching. It has watchers inside." Many documents appear to have been intentionally altered. Testimonies left uncorrupted are often hidden under unrelated file names, stored in forgotten archives, or encoded in obscure metadata. Some whistleblowers hide messages inside music, art, or poetry, hoping to smuggle warnings past the filters. There's even a growing community of digital archivists who believe they're chasing the ghosts of truth, scraps of testimony that the loop failed to erase completely. The deeper you go, the harder it becomes to tell what's real. But one thing is clear: Someone, somewhere, is trying to tell us. And someone else is trying just as hard to make sure we never hear them. Chapter 12. Ancient Clues and Forgotten Earths. Long before satellites, physics, or even language as we know it, ancient cultures may have known the truth, or fragments of it. That Earth is not singular, but one of many. That time does not move forward, but in a circle. That reality repeats. Across the world, ancient myths whisper of cycles, endless ages where the world is created, destroyed, and created again. The Hindus speak of the yugas, immense time periods where the earth is reborn through phases of darkness and light. The Mayans mapped out world ages on their long count calendar, with each age ending in cataclysm, just as another begins. Egyptian priests spoke of Zep Tepi, the first time, an era of divine rule that occurred in a forgotten past, a golden age that reset after disaster. In Norse mythology, Ragnarok is not the end, but the restart, a loop into a new earth, eerily similar to the one before. But these are just stories, right? Hidden within these myths are repeating numbers, astronomical alignments, and architectural anomalies that suggest something deeper, an encoded warning. The pyramids of Giza, the Sphinx, the Temple of Borobudur, Göbekli Tepe, each may be more than spiritual centers. Some believe they're markers, points on Earth that persist across loops, anchors between versions. They survive transitions because they were built to. And then there's the phenomenon of out-of-place artifacts, tools, carvings, or knowledge far too advanced for their time. Batteries in Babylon, precision stonework in Peru, star maps buried with pharaohs. These may not be relics of human advancement, but carryovers from previous Earths. According to the theory, these structures were left by loop survivors, people or beings who crossed over with knowledge and tried to rebuild what was lost. Their warnings became myth, their science, ritual, their maps, religion. Some claim certain lineages have preserved these secrets, hidden in oral traditions, underground libraries, or sacred geometric symbols. The spiral, the eye, the cube, all recurring across civilizations that supposedly never met. The question is no longer whether the ancients knew. It's how much they knew, and what they were trying to tell us before it all reset again. Chapter 13. Earth Zero and the Original Fracture. Every system has a starting point. Every loop has a first rotation. In the hidden lore of the Wandering Earths theory, this origin is called Earth Zero, the original world, the one from which all others were copied, fractured, or spun off. But Earth Zero was never meant to be lost. It was meant to last forever. The theory proposes that Earth Zero was a highly advanced civilization, not just technologically, but spiritually, mentally, and dimensionally. A world where humanity had achieved perfect resonance with the environment, each other, and the fabric of space-time itself. It wasn't paradise, but it was stable, a carefully calibrated system where knowledge and energy were balanced. Until something happened. The original fracture. Some say it was a cosmic event, a solar anomaly, a gravitational pulse, a black hole collapse that tore at the edge of reality. Others believe it was human-made, a technological breakthrough that went too far. Time manipulation, consciousness expansion, dimensional warping. Whatever the cause, Earth Zero shattered. Not physically, but metaphysically. Reality split. Not into chaos, but into copies, versions of Earth based on different moments, variables, or intentions. The loop was created not as a design, but as a containment, a fail-safe, a cosmic recycle bin for a reality gone wrong. Each Earth in the loop is a test, a simulation, a way to see if humanity can realign, find the balance again. But with every reset, we get further from the original signal. The code becomes noisier, the memory more corrupt. Some believe Earth Zero still exists, hidden outside the loop, untouchable except by those who know how to reach it, not with rockets or ships, but with frequency, thought, or consciousness. A few claim to have glimpsed it in dreams, a world bathed in white gold light, where ruins pulse with energy and time feels like music, a world waiting to be found, or rejoined. Earth Zero isn't legend. It's the origin, and possibly the only way out. Chapter 14. Escaping the Loop. If the wandering Earths are real, if we are living inside a closed rotation of repeating realities, then a profound question emerges. Is there a way out? To the theorists, this is not a metaphor, not symbolic. They mean it literally, that the loop is escapable, not through death, not through time travel, but through awareness, alignment, and intentional frequency shift. The concept is radical but simple. The loop is a closed circuit of repeating Earths, each slightly different, triggered at the edge of collapse. Humanity is recycled. Memory is wiped. History repeats. But if the loop is a construct, an engineered system, then it must have vulnerabilities, back doors, fault lines, forgotten paths. Some claim the key lies in consciousness, that most people are energetically anchored to the loop, stuck in cycles of fear, distraction, and survival. But those who become fully aware, lucid in waking life as one is in dreams, begin to vibrate differently. They become misaligned from the system, unpredictable, uncontainable. This may explain why the loop seems to suppress emotional intensity, creativity, and truth-seeking. These qualities create cracks in the simulation. Others say the exit is physical, that buried in ancient maps, constellations, or monolithic structures are coordinates to liminal zones, thin places where reality wears thin, remote mountain tops, underground caverns, oceanic trenches. The stories of missing ships, strange lights, and impossible recoveries, not abductions, exits. Another theory points to sacred geometry and sound frequencies, that the loop is maintained through harmonic resonance, and specific combinations of tone and geometry can unlock the resonance code, allowing the consciousness to slip sideways into another path, out of sequence. Then there are whispers of loop walkers, individuals who have done it, moved through the loop without memory loss. They speak in symbols. They disappear often. They leave behind clues. Some believe great mystics, visionaries, or prophets were loop walkers, trying to guide us out. The truth, we don't know. But if the loop is real, then perhaps it is not a prison. Perhaps it is a test, and the real goal has never been to survive, but to transcend. Chapter 15. The Final Rotation. What if this is it? What if the Earth you're on right now isn't just another rotation in the loop, but the last? According to the most ominous interpretations of the theory, the cycle is not infinite. Each Earth has a lifespan, a purpose. But so does the loop itself. It was never meant to run forever. And now, it's failing. The signs are growing. Glitches increasing. Memory bleed accelerating. Whistleblowers multiplying. Even dreams have changed. No longer fragmented and symbolic, but unified, clear, urgent. The theory suggests that the loop's infrastructure, whatever keeps this system rotating between Earths, is decaying, not because of sabotage, because of time. Entropy. Reality is buckling under the weight of too many resets. Code is fracturing. Physics is warping. Symbols once meant to protect now seem corrupted. Even the elites appear uneasy, no longer hiding, but accelerating their plans, as if trying to leave not just this Earth, but the loop altogether. And here's the chilling thought. There may be no more Earths to rotate into. The copies are thinning. The data too degraded. The backups incomplete. The system once meant to preserve reality is now eating itself. A spiral collapsing inward. So what happens at the end? Some believe we wake up, that the collapse of the loop triggers the reintegration of Earth Zero, and we finally remember who we were before the fracture. Others believe we dissolve, scattered fragments of identity drifting forever in unanchored space, never whole again. And some believe this is the final test, the moment where humanity either ascends or repeats the pattern, one last futile time. But maybe the decision isn't collective. Maybe it's personal. Each of us stands at the edge of our own portal. The rotation ends when you decide to remember, to question, to see, because the loop is not a prison of walls. It's a mirror, and the door has always been there, waiting for you to notice.